everybody and welcome on today's video. It's the 2nd of March today and there is the sun and a little blue sky and it's really amazing. Another thing that is quite amazing is that I visited the trophy this year, and I did that with my wife, and she saw Winterjasmines and she said, "Oh, don't they look cute?" And so she bought a Winterjasmine and a nice little pot, because you know, if you have a tree you need a pot immediately. She also bought a Fuji cherry, but it's still in bloom, so I'll do some work on that later. But now it is a major moment. The Winterjasmine will enter its bonsai pot. So here is the little guy, and he's really little. I mean, this is my pinky, it's half my pinky, but okay, it's cute and it's healthy, I think. Has quite some roots. So the first thing to do, of course, is to rake these roots out. And well, let's find my stuff here. Now, about Winterjasmine, I don't have a whole lot of experience with them. Well, no, I should mention this differently. I have zero experience with them. So I've been reading a little bit and looking some things up on the internet. And yeah, well, these little trees, well, they don't get thick very fast, but you can take cuttings from them. They have a very fine root system, and they have, of course, these magnificent yellow flowers very early in spring or late in winter. And that's, of course, very nice, because it's a sign of hope that spring will always return. Now, if I look at this, it is in a quite organic mixture, but there is some grit, some pumice or bims, I don't know what it is. And that's very good, of course, because the tree is not completely soaking wet because of that. Well, it is very wet, but it's been raining almost all day long yesterday. So I'll have to untangle these roots very carefully. And you see, I have a very high root here, which again some people find interesting, and then you have to leave that. I always think that this is a flaw, so I will remove it. But not only that, I will remove it and plant it as a sort of root cutting, because, well, I'm sure this won't come as a surprise. I'm going to make fusion trees with this Winterjasmine. We saw a few of these Winterjasmines at the Nolanders Trophy. Well, it's called a trophy now. I always call it the Nolanders Trophy because it's Mark Nolanders that started this years and years and years ago. And now I don't know why it's called the trophy. I think it's because there's always been some struggle, I think, between the biggest bonsaiists in Belgium and Europe. Well, anyway, doesn't matter. I saw a few, well, we saw a few of these nice little Winterjasmines. and they were, well, the thickest that I saw was as big as my thumb maybe, and it was almost 125 euros or dollars, something like that. I don't know how much that is in pounds, so you'll forgive me. And I think that's a lot of money, but that's not a real surprise because, well, they don't grow fast, and when they grow long. They don't grow thick. So, yeah. Okay, I'm almost there. Maybe need a chopstick. So a lot of repotting videos lately. Yeah, depending on what you want to do, there are different techniques. When you have a tree like this one that is in a really small training pot and you want to get it out, it's always a good idea to not rake the roots apart, even with your root hook, but to push the soil out. So you just come in with your chopstick, with your tweezers, with you whatever you want. See, with the chopstick you can also do that. Even with your tweezers, and you try to push out, excuse me, the substrate. Then you don't harm the roots. I guess this would be a cutting. Well, that's always good because they have a good radial root system, and there's no taproot. So, but now I will have to wash this and then have a good look at the root system. Okay, before I go and wash these roots, I'm going to prepare the little pot. It's a cute little pot, nice glaze, one big drainage hole, a couple of wiring holes that I will not use. So, putting in my little drainage screen, a little layer of soil, and that's gonna be it. Let's put this aside and wash these roots. Right, so the roots are washed out now, and this is an important moment, and I want to share that with you because, well, yeah. Well, first of all, obviously this high root, I don't want that. That's just a question of taste. So I'll remove it. And this will make a fine cutting, not even a cutting because, well, it already has roots. And then the question, the dilemma you have with most cuttings is that when you see this is a cutting, so they put that in the soil, which is a very good thing to do with a cutting, and then this cutting most of the time starts forming roots at the bottom, and here you can very well see where it's closing in. But then this cutting gets happy and starts to form roots all over the place where it's in the ground, and then you have, of course, different root planes. Now it is a question of choosing, and you have a root plane here, which is a nice one, and you have a root plane at the very bottom, which is also a nice one, but maybe this root is not that great and it comes from high above. Now, what you will always have when you have different root planes, where the highest roots are, there will be a swelling because obviously there is more growth here, so the best root flare will always be the highest one, and then you have to remove the lowest one, which is what I'm gonna do. So it's quite a big removal of roots. That's it. That's what I'm gonna get off, but I'll plant this as a root cutting, and then I have one big horrible root here. see that big root, but I have small roots on that big root. So of course I want to keep these small roots and remove the big one. Just leaving one or two little roots on that portion that I removed, and of course, well, that's quite some root. Maybe just get everything even now, and that will be the root work for this year. I cannot do much more, I think. Maybe get the stump off, and that's it. So here's the little pot. This is a nice root base, and I think it will look good like that. So let's do that. Honestly, this root is not doing well. It's a little high. Should I get it off? It's well, yeah, okay. So I'm going to mount a little bit of substrate here. Put the tree on top, maybe a little more, because I don't want the tree to form more roots where I just removed it. These roots, I know you could cut them off, but I mean it's not today. Not today. There's only so much you want to do. That's the best root base, and I can put the tree on a slight slant. I'm sorry that my hand is blocking the view, but I need my left hand to open the root base. So that's good on this side. Okay, it's amazing how much soil goes in these small pots. Okay, so I need a little more. Like so. I will work the soil in, and well, the tree has not a whole lot of roots, but it's quite stable in the pot, and it doesn't have a whole lot of leaves also. So now, yeah, well, the only thing that I can do is let this grow for a whole year. I will not do too much pruning, except if I see that it's exploding with growth, and then of course I'll take the opportunity to get some cuttings. I'm gonna put some rocks on top of that. I think the front is not bad. This will probably be the leader, and I will remove this one in a couple of weeks when I see that I have good growth. So I'm gonna let that run for a couple of weeks. So a little rock will help for the stability. Okay, so if this is the front, and it's not the perfect front, but as far as the roots are concerned, it is. So if this is the front, it should lean a little more like that, which I will do. And you see we have all kinds of growth here. For the trunk, this is not the perfect front as regarding the trunk, I mean. So probably this little bud will become the leader. I will get rid of this. I have good branching in the back and on the side, so that's good. I'll fix the tree with a couple of sandstones so that it doesn't move. And then, yeah, this portion is dead, so well, I can, and this also broke off. So I'll just remove that. And yeah, that's gonna be it. So now I have, of course, these little cuttings, and I never had success with root cuttings. So I'll just take the little pot where everything was in. I'm going to use a little bit of better substrate and then use a mix of this soil and the substrate that I usually use. So I'm gonna mix this a little bit. Okay, so a little mix of this with the original soil. Never a bad idea because, well, the tree was happy in that soil before, so why shouldn't it be now? Now, these are, well, root cuttings, obviously. So, well, will this thing bud back on roots? You never know. So I'm gonna keep these ones. And this is, well, it's different. It was above the ground, so you see that's green. So that's maybe a good contender. So because I have no idea and I never had success with root cuttings, I'm just gonna put everything in that little pot. Some roots will stick out. There's not a lot I can do about that. No, this is not good. And then I'll fill this up. And we will see what happens. If portions die, well, that's all that I can do. But, you know, trees that grow easily from cuttings, well, most of the time, they're not a big problem. So that's done, and here it is. That's the front. Not sure about all these branches, doesn't matter at all at this point. What is obvious is that I have a Winterjasmine and that I hope that it grows well. So here is the little Winterjasmine repotted, and well, I don't have a whole lot of experience with these plants, none to be honest, but I think it's not too difficult to do something with that. It's very angular in its growth pattern, which means that a little wire might be a good idea to get some elegance in this tree. If you have any experience with these species, please let me know. I can always use some good advice. In the meantime, well, that's all that I have for you today. Do all the YouTube stuff. It is, well, probably helping the algorithm. So, thank you for watching and see you next time.